Let's start with our out-of-conference game first, because I think this is probably the least big matchup out of the three that we're going to do, and that's Southern Cal at home taking on Washington. This game to me is very interesting. It's huge as far as the playoffs go, with Washington sitting at 5. Now, USC has 2 losses right now, but only 1 conference loss. So technically, they are still in the conference race to win that conference out there in the Pac-2. My thing with them is it comes down to Washington. How is Washington going to look now in a very, very, very big and tough environment that is going to be at Southern Cal out there in LA? Every team that has any type, it don't have to be good, just a conscious offense is able to score on Washington. You go to Stanford put 33 on them. Oregon put 33 on them. Arizona put up 24 on them, and Cal put up 32. The thing with Washington is they have to put up points and they got to outscore everybody else. This is the most dangerous team to go up against in Southern Cal, where you have this type of mentality going into a game, because Southern Cal can put it on every single game. They're going to put up a minimum of probably 35 points a game. Look at the game at Cal. They went on the road. They put up 50 and won that game, in a game that should have went to overtime. But Cal, that coaching staff blew that out the door trying to go for a win right there, and a horrible play call. That was absolutely awful. But it was interesting to me to look at how Southern Cal played last week against Cal after taking 2 straight losses to Utah and to Notre Dame. Were they going to fall apart and kind of fall back and be like, hey, our season's over. We were supposed to be a playoff team. We're supposed to win the national championship. Caleb Williams supposed to be the Heisman Trophy winner, all this and that. With all of that blowing up, how are they going to look? And to me, against Cal, that offense looked like they were on fire. They came out and said, we are still a top team in the country. We still can win our conference. Well, that was only our first conference loss, so we're still heavily in it. And so I think that they're just playing still right now with their hair on fire. I think they got everything still in front of them, and not far as playoff runs, but hey, get you a conference title after Utah has beaten them the past 2 years. Go ahead and get this out the way. I got Southern Cal pulling off the upset, the first big upset in the college football playoff rankings, and getting Washington up out of there. They got no hope after losing this game. But yeah, I think Michael Penix, I think it'll be a good game. Michael Penix will put up his numbers, but I just don't think they'll have enough for that environment, being at Southern Cal and taking on Caleb Williams. Marshawn Lloyd has been dynamic for them running. I think he's taken over that RB1 slot for them right now at the running back position. They've got a running game now along with the passing game. I think it'll be just too much for Washington to overcome.
I do not disagree with you at all. The problem with USC, you said it, both these teams really struggle defensively. USC seemingly has more defensive woes than Washington, but they haven't necessarily played a lot of common opponents yet. So, which is kind of odd to be this late in the season. USC gave up 49 to Cal. Washington gave up 32. Ironically, they both scored over 50. I think the play of Michael Penix Jr. Is really catapulting Washington to where they are right now. They're not only winning the games they're supposed to win, but they're not really doing it convincingly, just like USC is not really doing it convincingly. This is going to be a shootout, fellas. It's going to be a shootout. Both teams may end up with 50 points or more on the board when it's all said and done. And it's very hard to predict a game like that when neither team plays defense. It's going to come down to turnovers and time of possession and things like that. It's not the typical game that we used to see in the SEC, so it's a very hard game to call. I am with you. I'm going to go with USC in this game, mainly because it's at night and it's at home. I do think Lincoln Riley is going to be able to channel his inner offensive coordinator and outscore Washington here. I don't necessarily have that much belief in Washington defense either. So really and truly, the fact that this game is at home and at night for USC is what's really got me looking at them to win this game. If you look at USC's losses, you got a close loss against Utah. Utah's not a bad football team. They lost 34-32. Notre Dame did take them to the woodshed, and I believe Lincoln Riley at that particular point in time realized where his true deficiencies really lied. Arizona, he had to go to overtime to beat them, and only took Colorado by 6. Lincoln Riley knows he's got problems. Lincoln Riley has coached good football teams at Oklahoma that didn't play defense. He's got what I would consider a generational quarterback in Caleb Williams, who is doing all he can to will this team to wins. The only thing that sucks is he only plays on offense. He can't go and play on defense, right? But I think Washington's run ends Saturday. I think Washington gets thrown out of the CFP race to be a college football playoff team. There's nothing USC can do to get back in it at all, if you ask me. USC's playing for pride right now. Lincoln Riley's playing for pride right now. They talk about he's leaving USC to go to the pros next year. I don't know why. You don't know how to coach defense. So, dude, get it together, Lincoln. I'm looking for USC to win this game. They're going to win the game by 10 points. It's going to be a high-scoring affair, 55-45. USC going to take it. It's going to be a late night, going to be a long game. A lot of points scored, no defense. Just get ready. If your kid plays quarterback or receiver, you should be watching this game. Ain't going to be no defense play. USC, let's go get it.
I'm right there with y'all on this one. I think, but I'm a little bit more split than what both of y'all are. My heart tells me Washington is going to win this game. But I think it's going to depend on two things. That's going to be the same two things for USC and how they can win this game. It's going to be offensive line play versus how your quarterback can play. And I think Penix Jr. is the type of quarterback that can go in there and put up big-time numbers because he has the talent around him to do so. Now, in that same breath, USC has the same type of offensive talent that Washington does. So I'm right there with y'all. It's going to be a huge scoring game, college basketball number type game. And it's going to be something that's interesting to take note of. Washington, to me, does not play as comfortable on the road as they do at home, which is not a big take or anything like that. But to me, their last week against Stanford showed me a lot who Washington really is. And it said if that defense does not have momentum, people can score on them. So if Stanford can score on you 33 points, USC could probably put up in the 40s to 50s against your defense if Caleb Williams can stay upright and focus in the pocket. So to me, my heart says Washington. But I am not a lover boy type person. I'm going to go with my brain in this one right here. My brain says USC is going to take this one, and they're going to take it by at least a touchdown. I got the score being 49 USC to 42 Washington in a complete shootout, late night type game in the Pac-2. And it's going to be something I think everybody needs to focus in on because what it's going to really take is can Washington beat a team that's going to put points up on them again. You know what's going to happen. You got USC this week, you got Utah next week, and then you got Oregon State. That's going to be a tough slate for Washington to get to, and I just don't think they're going to come out of that unscathed. I think they should go ahead and get their loss over with, go ahead and get them out of playoff contention because I really don't want to see them in the top 4, and let's go ahead and get this loss in while we can right now. But talking about USC in this game, it's going to be in Caleb Williams in the offensive line's hands. More offensive line than Caleb Williams because you know Caleb Williams is going to bring his bag to the game. You know he's going to bring his luggage to the game, and he's ready to show out, especially in big-time moments against big-time opponents. He, to me, is the best quarterback in the nation right now. I know the season hasn't gone out how they wanted to, but he's the best quarterback to me in my eyes. Can the offensive line keep them upright and keep the blitz away from them? Because I think that's the only way Washington can win this game is by blitzing the hell out of them and getting them uncomfortable. But I think this game is going to be very, very interesting. I think it's going to really show us what the college ball playoffs is going to look like if Washington can get it done. Can they show up in big-time moments? But I don't think they're going to get it done. My brain says USC. I'm going with my brain in this one. Comment section, y'all can help me if y'all want to by not going with my heart. We'll see y'all next week when that happens. But USC comes out and gets their statement win of the season versus Washington. Upset alert. Upset alert.